Main objective, of course, it is basically to strengthen various component of observations. And why we need to strengthen the observations? Because we need to improve the forecast. And not only for both spatially and temporally, but most importantly, vertically. That is more important. Because the spatial observation is one thing, but the more important is the vertical observation. If you know that the forecast accuracy we always validate, when we try to validate how much data goes from the vertical data, that much improvement you get. That's why we understood that one. So that's why we are majorly focusing on observation in the vertical column and not majorly on this spatial domain. So there are three important objectives. One is improve the forecast. Number two is, can we do some science on weather interventions? I will come back to that. What is that? Basically, we are going for, in the long term, we plan to go for weather management through weather modification. What is weather management in simple nutshell? Now weather is managing us, whether we can manage weather, that's the idea. For that we should know more than what we know. That's the basic things. And of course we want to improve the air quality forecast. Though the observations of air quality and other things by MOEF and CCC, and but we try to take their data and try to forecast how best we can improve our forecast. That's the objective. So finally, we want to make Bharat weather ready and climate smart. I mean climate smart means we have a lot of observations for hundreds of years. Whether we can make use of that for the future, any of the operational utility, as well as the weather, how it is changing, we can catch up. And this next one is, these are the four pillars we are trying to address in this mission. One is, as I mentioned, strengthening the observations. It is not only in situ observation, but also remote sensing. Maybe you can take it radars, or you can take satellites, or many other things. Basically, we are trying to strengthen the observations. And second thing is, we want to have observations. Certain observation is mainly meant for assimilation, so that model initial condition is good, so that your what is called further forecast will be better. But certain observations to understand processes. Suppose within the cloud or within sub-mesoscale, what is happening? We don't know still much. So how to understand that process? So the observation requirement for understanding the process as well as assimilating, so that we can reduce the initial condition for the better forecast. These are the two purposes we are doing observation. So that's why I need to say the better understanding is mainly this understanding. We are trying to do that cloud parameters. How, when a cloud forms, how it is condensed, when it will be making a rainfall, all these processes we try to understand. And the third one is, we want to have improve the model. The model improvement comes only from the second, better understanding. The cloud parameters is the what we are using presently, that we want to improve. And apart from that, we use the model of physics-based numerical model plus data-driven AI model. Both the things we try to use them so that we can have a better forecast. Because even physics-based numerical model, there is a limitation, because we have a lot of assumptions. So we have to reduce the error. That means we need to use the AI model. And the last one is, of course, we need to train the manpower, and finally we need to disseminate in a better format or better way to go about it. In this process, we are also internationally, the UN has started the initiative, it is early warning for all. That means two things: no observations, whatever is happening, no weather system should not be unnoticed, number one. And second thing is, we need to have every person in the globe, he needs to get the warning in proper time. These are two objectives. It is a UN objective by 2027 they have planned. So we are already in this mission. If we implement, we will be able to reach that. That means no weather system will be unnoticed, because now we know some of the weather patterns, maybe some cloud burst. We are not able to detect. With available observation, we don't know. But now with this mission, if we implement, we will be able to observe all the weather patterns, weather system is happening in India. Next one. So in the quickly just I will make it in the observation, what are the things? It is observations not only from the atmosphere in the land, over the land, but also we are trying to strengthen the observation over the ocean, as well as strengthen the observation in the southern ocean, because southern ocean was far away, but still it impacts our monsoon patterns and other things. So these are the area very less observation wherever it is there. We want to have more observations. We are trying to understand where we need observation, because where we need observation is some of the places the variabilities are very quick, there we need to observe more. Some places the variabilities are small, there we need to observe less. So we try to understand from the ocean, observing simulation experiment. Based on that, if it is a plateau area, even one observation is okay, but same area. We are going with a different approach where the variability is more observation in that way. So we are trying to do our remote sensing radar coverage, and also we want to have some test bed and some of the aircraft observations. Of course, some of the things, the cyclone reconnaissance and other things, we thought of doing it. And presently in this particular 2 years page is not there. But overall, actually initially we thought of 5-year plan. So we made a big plan, 5 years. But later on it is condensed because it is a 15th finance cycle. It will be end by 2016 March. So up to 16th March, 2026 March, what you can do, that is what in this. So that will come in the second stage in the 16th finance cycle, wherein we will have much more observations. Also, we need to go for aircraft and new satellites that we are thinking in the second cycle. In the some of the points, whatever we have discussed, Doppler wind lidar and other things, which we are planning for the second stage. But this stage, observation per se, if you talk about, we are going to install complete entire India combination of S, C and X-band, so that no place is without radar coverage. That is number one. Number two is vertical profiles, wind profilers and radiometer. We don't have anything now. We want to have at least some 15 locations. We want to continuously monitor the wind profile up to maybe troposphere or troposphere, and the radiometer, that temperature and humidity profile, so that we will be able to get the diurnal variability of vertical distribution of various parameters. Once we know that, then we will be able to do our initial guess, so that our model will be better predictability. That's the main next step. And this is just to give a comparison. If you want to go for radar, what is the other people have done, what we are doing. You all know that the tropical weather patterns are very chaotic, as well as the processes is very, what is called, the both magnitude and direction is changes chaotically when compared to mid-latitude and further. For example, US is having 160 S-band radar. You know the S-band radar coverage is much more, about 400 what is called kilometer, whereas C-band about 150 to 200, whereas X-band about 100 kilometers spatial scale. But they have 160 S-band, so roughly about every 150 kilometer one radar they have. But as of now we have 432. But actually we should have other way around. We should have more observation than them, because our variabilities are much higher. So I think we want to bring that back to in our area. Similarly, if you see about the radio sonde or wind profiler, we don't have any wind profiler as of now. About 56 radio sonde is there. We want to strengthen more observation of radio sonde. We want to have more wind profiles. So some of the things just we want to go on increase. Next slide. And second thing is, I was talking about understanding. That is a science. So we want to understand the cloud processes and dynamics. So for that, we want to have a cloud chamber in a lab. So we want to create artificially cloud inside the room and try to understand the processes, how the violations and other processes are happening. And also we want to understand some of the teleconnections. We know more teleconnections between zonally, how El Nino is affecting Indian monsoon, how Atlantic Nino is affecting Indian monsoon, how IOD is affecting Indian monsoon. But we are not much bothered about how the polar region affects the Indian monsoon and how that is teleconnection to that. So that we want to strengthen that. And similarly, different forcing methods, how the internal and the external forcing contributing to this one, and what are the linear and non-linear processes are happening. So all these things we want to address in the understanding. Of course, this is where mainly we try to use many of the academics and other our IITM and other people will be chipping in. Of course, our IIT will be the main player for total things, so we will try to this. Next slide. And modeling also, as of you know that we are modeling as of now it's about 12 kilometers. That means within the 12 kilometers anything is happening, it is we are considered to be a uniform. You say that suppose if a rainfall is happening in maybe this location, it may not happen in some other far away in 6 kilometers. But we assume that average. Okay, here suppose if we have 10 centimeter rain, there is no rain, but we will give 5 centimeter rain. Both are wrong. So that's why we need to go for higher resolution. For that we need observation is required. Then we have to go for model. So suppose now 12 kilometer to 6 kilometer if I want to go, my existing computer I have to increase at least 8 times. 8 times more. If I have 1 petabyte, 1 petaflops, then I have to go for 8 petaflops to go for double. And globally, we are one among them. The fastest, highest resolution is I think 9 km by ECMW. I am talking about global model. 9 km by ECMW. But now we are trying to go for 6 km, then we can zoom it. And there are different techniques we want to make use of in the modeling, and also we want, as I mentioned, that we don't want to use not only for a numerical model, but also we try to use statistical, numerical, AML. Finally, the combination of all final things, human intelligence, that we have to always use. Only model cannot do. That's why we need to use number of models. We are going to do for ensembles, because ensemble means many models will give different things, but the user can identify which one is good for what. So that's why finally we have to use the intelligence also in that. So and also finally we use various computing and other things. Next slide. And the forecast. Now we have to go for, once the model, products, everything is available, then we have to go for forecasting. So basically we are looking at various mobile apps, social media, and finally we are thinking of, not now, maybe in the end of 5 years, we are thinking about mouse and GP. That's the idea, because when you go for it, lowest person, agriculture person, how to use it, as well as some person, very high-fi person, we want to use it, doesn't, how to use it. Both we have to catch. So that's why, like our population or our finance, how it is distributed, extremes. Similarly, here also we need to use the extreme, different people we have to cater, lowest as well as highest. That's what we are thinking of motion GPT. And then of course we want to, finally what we want to have, we need to develop a trust with the users. That's a major goal. Because once they get the information, they trusted our product, then they will be able to give a feedback, then we can improve more. That's the idea. Next one. And what is the forecast about? And weather management, just we want to go for now, presently we want to go for some of the initial experiments, artificial suppression of or enhancement of rain or hail. We are trying to make, maybe we can think of lightning, whether we can suppress, or these are the things we are trying to do in 18 months. We want to go for some laboratory simulation experiment like that. Then later on we can come in 5 years time scale. Definitely we will go for what is called artificial or maybe weather modification. Suppose if it is happening in 15th August, it's going to be rain. Can you suppress that rain? We can think of it. Similarly, you want to do, suppression is always easy. Any restriction is easy. But enhancement, we need to go for ethical issue, political issue, all these things we need to think about at that time. So that we will work on that. Of course, we need to go for this, we need to go for better understanding in the especially cloud processes. That is what we are going for. Next slide. So this is, we have put in different also various components. One is observe all. That means we need to go for more observations. Then we want to go for frontier, various frontier technology, and we want to go for next generation Earth system model and fuse them with the AI model, and then the decision support system and impact of high weather, high impact weather, and weather modification, air quality and chemistry to understand and do, and also capacity building and weather ready nation we need to make it. These are the various building blocks we want to connect this bridge, all these things together. Next. So this blue color and that other one is the blue color is where we want to achieve. The x-axis is various time scale and y-axis is a resolution, that means spatial time scale. Suppose if we take about nowcast, now we are able to give nowcast every 6 hours. Once if I install all this observation, I can provide nowcast every hour. And also I have reduced the time scale. Earlier I can give 10 kilometers resolution. Now I can come for 100 meter to maybe 500 meter, 200 meter, like that. So we can go for very higher resolution. Similarly, I can go for timeline estimate. And other thing, bracket whatever is in suppose 1 to 5 days forecast. In an average, we are giving about 0.7. That means 70% forecast is okay. But can we increase up to 7 days as well as 0.75 accuracy? This is overall. So that is what we are aiming at, the different spatial and temporal scale. Next. And of course, this is the various users we have. Before that, we have contacted various users. Each user is having requirement of different domain. We have taken into account. Suppose power sector, they want every hourly they want to have wind and other things, or solar radiations. So all these things we have taken into account. Before that, we had a meeting with all these sectors, and what you want to give it to the, if you start mission milestone, what you can contribute and what you want from us. We have discussed and we have taken into all their input and other things. Then we have incorporated in the project and we have taken into finals. Next slide. So also you know that this total outlay is about 2,000 crore and the various institution of MOAs, almost all the MOAs institution will be partnered to this. Apart from, we are going to work with various academia and other national labs like the CSIR or other DST and other labs, and also some of the industries, especially radars or other things we want to go for faster mode, how we can go. These are the maximum things which we are doing. I think next slide. Yeah, of course, this is about just nothing. We are planning for, this is basically next 5 years. We want to go for major infrastructure to establish. That's our main objective. So that we can go for in 2047, we have to go for weather management. That's our objective. From weather forecast to weather management, we have to go. So every 5 years, we have to go quantum improvement in our understanding as well as establishing the infrastructure. That's the main thing. Next slide. I think that's it.